Let's speak to Richard Burnett, who's Chief Executive of the UK Road Haulage Association. Richard, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gary.
You must be relieved, at least, that there is some movement.
Certainly relieved, but I think it's going to take a long time. It's very slow, and I really feel for these drivers that have ended up being pawns, in this kind of larger game. And they're going to be held here until probably Boxing Day beyond.
You say they're pawns. Just give us more detail on what your thinking is there, because the UK government, of course, say that this is all about this new strain of coronavirus and the French's reaction to it. So, in some respects, unforeseeable.
Well, I think the EU made a statement during the week saying, look, we need to keep freight borders opening. HGV drivers, right the way through the COVID pandemic, have had protocols in place to ensure that they're protected to keep the movement of goods. They're isolated in their cabs. They're socially distanced when they collect and when they deliver, and they've had the lowest levels of sickness rates. If you compare a driver, 3 to 6% on average was the sickness rate through COVID, whereas a warehouse operative or factory, more like 25 to 40% in terms of sickness rate. So a very low risk. And it just feels like it's a lever that the French have pulled specifically around the Brexit negotiations as well.
But they, of course, deny that. They say it is purely done on the health and safety grounds.
Of course they do, and that's exactly what they're going to say. But I think we know to a degree what's gone on. We also understand that we don't want the virus to spread, but I think we have to kind of think practically about some of the reasons why this has happened.
Well, let's just talk about practicalities, because going forward, to cross the channel, drivers are going to have to take a test. How is that going to add to the situation that's already unfolding at our ports?
Well, look, what's been laid out, again, is an agreement that this is going to be reviewed on the 31st of December, and there's a sunset clause in that says that it's going to complete on the 6th. What's going to happen in the meantime is, yes, it's going to create serious delays, in terms of the flow of vehicles back to Europe, and in terms of the inbound flow from Europe into the UK. These European drivers are saying that they don't want to be part of this. They don't want to be, in these queues or being delayed. So that's going to have an impact on our supply chain.
Well, the 1st of January, of course, sees a new relationship between the UK and the EU. We're waiting this morning for details to emerge of a potential trade deal. But of course, we know that even with a deal in place, and if it's ratified between now and the end of the year, that there will be extra bureaucracy at our ports. So how do you see the next couple of weeks panning out for those in your industry?
Well, I think it depends on the shape of the deal. If the EU has agreed an implementation period in a similar way to the UK about easing, I guess some of the paperwork that needs to be completed from day one, that might actually be a bit of a saviour. But at the moment, with the shortage of customs brokers and customs agents to complete the paperwork, and the confusion and the lack of readiness both on the EU side and the UK side, I think we're going to start to see significant delays still. Even with the deal, if it doesn't have that implementation period agreed.
So in essence, we need to, you call it an implementation period, but would it be correct to say that it would be an extension of where we're at the moment, an extension of the transition period?
Well, I would call it an implementation period, because it's about businesses actually preparing, getting ready on both sides, and actually having almost a glide path to rebalancing everything that we need to do from a business perspective. So I think that would save us. I think if we don't get it, then I think we're going to have a pretty difficult first quarter as business readjusts.
Richard Burnett, Chief Executive of the UK Road Haulage Association.